Pardon me. That was Gary. I guess I'm just going to edit that out anyways. It's about at the 10-minute mark. Just as well I edited that since Gary just called and yeah, anyways. The GameCube version also, that double person per cart thing, I only briefly discussed that, but the person in the front drives and the person in the back deals with the power-ups and all that, which may sound like a small job, but actually is more involved than it sounds. And you can hop back and forth at any time. This also meant you could carry 2 power-ups at once, which is something you could never do before, you know. And in fact, the N64 was the first version you can actually hold like a shell behind you or a banana peel behind you by continuing to hold the button down like this. In the GameCube one, you can get, you know, this power up on this guy, swap characters so the other one's driving, and then the next one gets a power up, so you've actually got 2 power ups ready to go like that. It was a really nice system. It really added some strategy to the game. It's also when the AI started getting a little meaner. They really started using the rubber band AI there. It wasn't fully in effect yet, but they definitely were leaning in that direction as of the GameCube version, and unlocking some of the really final stuff like the endurance race, which is all the tracks in the game in one go. There's no pause, there's no break, it's just win all the tracks on mirror mode, under 150 cc's. That was brutal. Gary and I actually did that together using the 2-player thing, which is, by the way, the final reason I think, and ultimately, I'm going to go ahead and say this now, I think the GameCube version is the best, because it's the only version of all of them where the cooperative thing, the 2-player playing at the same time thing, actually got somewhere. You could actually unlock stuff by playing with a friend. In every other Mario Kart, including the more recent ones, if you want to unlock stuff, you have to play it by yourself. You cannot unlock anything in multiplayer, so shrug. Then we had Mario Kart on the DS was actually the next one. That was 2005. Mario Kart on the DS added snaking, which is ironic because they then immediately took it away in the Wii version. But in the snaking was a concept where you'd slide in just such a manner and perfectly and quickly get the boost off from the slide and then immediately slide the other direction. So you'd kind of do this thing. And each slide you'd get a boost, and you could go really, really fast, and some people got really, really good at that. And it became interesting. The DS version also had something that, to my knowledge, is unique. The new one might have it, but I don't know anything about it. Challenge modes, which is basically little quests. And you do those. I don't even remember if they unlock anything, to be completely honest with you. I think they do. I think it's something irrelevant, something I don't care that much about. But I just wanted to do them because they were fun. They're certainly challenging, as the name implies. You know, you have to go and race around this track in 20 seconds, or race around this track while a giant worm thing is trying to eat you the whole time. You know, things like that. It was stuff they could do they'd never done before that wasn't just racing. That was racing with a twist. It was fun. It's a great idea, and I hope they do that in the new one. I don't think anything else was really introduced in the DS version, but it was a good game. It was enjoyable, and it had another feature which, admittedly, a lot of games nowadays do this, but Mario Kart DS was one of the first to implement this feature. You've got your DS here, right? And you got another friend here, and you're the only one with the game. So they add this download play thing where you download it into his memory, so he's temporarily got portions of the game there, and then hold on to it for the duration of the DS being open, and you could play a few tracks together, whether or not the other person owns a copy of Mario Kart. They still have to have a DS. But still, that was a nice little feature. Then we've got the Wii version. Mario Kart Wii, 2008, 3 years afterwards. Mario Kart Wii, let's see, what did they add in that? Other than the ability to use bikes, obviously. See, they took out the snaking, as I mentioned earlier. They left the sliding in, but they changed it a bit. See, karts can still do the triple slide, or I guess double slide. But bikes, which is the other thing you could play, can only do a single slide. However, they can also do a wheelie. Pop up like this. Now, while you're doing a wheelie, your maneuverability is down, and if you get tapped by anyone, you lose control. But you're going much faster in a straight line while this. And so wheeling on a regular basis became a sound strategy. Wii version also has the dubious honor of being the most ways to... how do I put this? The most ways you can race in. Like, you've got the Wiimote, right? This is obviously not a Wiimote. You can drive like this. I can't stand doing this. In fact, I have a huge issue with this, and I'll tell you why. I tend to do this. Now, as soon as the gyro in this thing goes a certain distance, it resets. And so all of a sudden, I'm twisting to the right, if you follow me. So I'd try to do a hard left, and I would end up going right or straight, because I'm an idiot. And I never really got used to that. But then there's the Wiimote plus Wii nunchuck idea. Oh, again, not really the obvious item here. This is actually what I prefer. You've got the steering over here, you've got the buttons over here, and you can do the shake in order to do the you know, the wheelie or the slide or the hop, which I'll get to in a moment. And of course, you can play with the GameCube controller, or you can play with a built-in controller, or whatever. But the hopping was a amusing little thing because it's such a Mario Kart thing. There's little benefit to it as far as actual racing. You know, once you finish the hop and you come down, you'll get a little bit of a boost, but 9 times out of 10 you will actually lose time overall for doing so. But it's so fun. It's so cool. What it is you shake the controller or hit whatever the button is. As soon as you go up over a thing, and you go whoa, and there's this little thling, and then you're just posing in the middle. It's like yeah, and then you come down and you're like yeah, it was awesome. And it's especially awesome on a bike. I prefer driving bikes pretty much to the point of exclusion in Mario Kart Wii, and it's really funny to watch them. And like Bowser or Dry Bowser, which is my favorite racer. He'll jump up there and he'll be like, yeah, and he'll spin his shell in air, and then he'll come back down. Again, there's no real point to it other than showing off and having fun with it, but isn't that the point of Mario Kart? Mario Kart Wii, along with the DS, also supported online mode for actual online, you know, hooking up to the network. And I wouldn't recommend doing that. I'll be completely frank, because some people take that game way, way too seriously, and in my opinion, suck all the fun out of it. You know, when you actually get down to the nitty-gritty and the mechanics and the engineering of it, and you're actually trying to win and nothing else, what's the point at that point? Yeah, congrats, you're the best at the game, and you aren't having fun. You're just trying to be better than everyone else. And you know what? If that's your thing, fine. But I personally do not want to engage in that, because all that does is involve you calling me a fag because I am not as good at a game as you are. No, thank you. Now, of all these games, if I were to rate them in order of how much I enjoy them, honestly, it's kind of a tough call, but I would probably put the GameCube first. The co-op abilities, the general fun factor, the options, there were so many power-ups, it was fun. It was the kart choices and the player choices and all that, it was really enjoyable. I liked the GameCube version, I'll put that best. The Wii one would be second. The Wii one has more unlocks than any of the other ones, more karts and a lot more racers. You start with like 12, I believe, and you get a lot more than 12 by the end. And really enjoyable game, like I said, just some fun, flashy stuff. The levels in Mario Kart Wii were beautiful, by the way, I'd like to say. I really enjoyed the tracks in Mario Kart Wii, especially Rainbow Road, and especially Bowser's Castle. Again, they're in all of them, but those two versions are arguably my favorites of the lot. If I had to keep going, I'd probably say the DS version next. The challenges were a beautiful idea, and they really added to the formula of the game. They really gave you an additional way to have fun with it. Then I would put the SNES one, of course, the original, and still fun to this day. And then the N64, unfortunately, I didn't get as much mileage out of that as I'd like. And then the GBA one last, which is just a matter of consequence. But it's worth noting, and a friend of mine pointed this out, Gary pointed this out recently, it's saying the worst Mario Kart game is like saying the worst Zelda game. I challenged him recently to think of a bad Zelda. Ever. Even the spin-off games. He failed, because there isn't. There is no such thing. All the Zeldas, all of them, have been made with quality and with concept, and I'm not going to branch off much here, but the point is the Mario Kart's the exact same thing. Every Mario Kart game has been made to be a good game, and all of them are good games, and saying favorites to worst is just a matter of opinion. For example, I polled several of my friends. Gary's favorite is the SNES version. And SNES, Wii, N64, DS, GameCube, and Game Boy Advance. Then Pax's favorite is GameCube, DS, Wii, N64, SNES, GBA, and so forth and so on. I asked Sarah, who was playing these games with me recently, who's never played any of the previous 6 ever, and even she was torn on picking a favorite amongst them because she really enjoyed the old ones just as much. So, overall, I can't give a rating to this series, ultimately. I can only look at the Mario Kart series as a whole, but I would be willing to pay good money for any of the Mario Kart games because they're worth it, because they're fun, because they are enjoyable, and because they are a great group activity. You can pick up Mario Kart with someone who doesn't play video games at all and still enjoy the time with them. Especially on the GameCube one, because you can actually play with them. Again, another reason why that's my favorite, but moving on. Overall, I guess I can't give a rating, so I don't know how to end this. I guess I'll just say, and be done with it.